Morning, everyone. Welcome to the second meeting of the House Standing Committee on Economic Development and Workforce Investment. Good to see everyone this morning. Just a couple little house cleaning here. Make sure everyone please take a moment, silence your phones. If you're interested in testifying, make sure that you've signed the sign-in sheet. Also, as a reminder, no signs or outbursts from the audiences. Any member seeking recognition or have anyone that they would like to recognize out in the audience? Okay, seeing none, Sasha, please call the roll.
Representative Bowling. Representative Callaway.
Here.
Representative Duvall.
Here.
Representative Elliott. Representative Gentry. Representative Griffey.
Here.
Representative Grossel. Representative Jackson.
Present.
Representative King.
Present.
Representative Lawrence.
If you can believe it.
Representative Lehman. Representative Lockett. Representative Payne.
Here.
Representative Sharp.
Present.
Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Truitt.
Here.
Vice Chair Huff.
Here.
Ranking Minority Member Kulkarni.
Present.
Chair Branscombe.
Here. And we do have a quorum. First item on the agenda is House Bill 576. Representative Duvall, if you can make your way to the table. Just a reminder, all of our presenters, make sure the green light's on, microphone's pulled up. All right, if y'all could, please state your name for the record.
Robert Duvall, State Representative, District 17.
Ben Lato, Vice President, make my move.
All right, thank you all for being here. Members, we do have a committee substitute. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Committee substitute passes on House Bill 576. Floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Chair Branscombe, Vice Chair Huff, and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I'm here to introduce House Bill 576, legislation that establishes the Kentucky Talent Recruitment Grant Program. Simply put, this is a workforce bill. This is legislation that was brought before the Workforce Attraction and Retention Task Force that I co-chaired with Senator Wise during the 2024 interim. And this legislation is endorsed by KLC and the Kentucky Chamber. Right now, Kentucky is facing a simple but pressing math problem. We currently have a 152,000 job gap in our Commonwealth. We cannot solve shortage of this magnitude simply by shuffling our existing workforce from one county to another. To sustain our economic momentum, we need net new residents. Unlike long-term workforce development pipelines that take years to mature, talent attraction has an immediate impact. It brings ready-to-work individuals right into our tax base to fill local vacancies. These new Kentuckians are 100% incremental taxpayers. They bring new purchasing power to our main streets, new students to our schools, and new revenue to our local and state governments. House Bill 576 provides the necessary seed money to tackle the issue head-on at the local level. People don't just move to states, they move to communities. This bill creates a grant program to allow cities, counties, and local nonprofits to apply for up to $500,000 in grant funding to launch targeted recruitment programs. Our target is out-of-state talent, specifically households making an income of at least $60,000. There are three key points to make with this. There's three reasons why this is the right decision for Kentucky. Number one, there is skin in the game, and so communities are required to provide a 20% local match. They must be financially invested in welcoming these new residents. Number two, there is local control. Local leaders know their needs best. This framework allows them to tailor programs to fit their specific community, whether they're a small town or whether they're a big city. And number three, this is low risk, high reward. This grant structure is entirely performance-based. Dollars are not just handed over. 50% of the funds are dispersed upon agreement But the remaining 50% is strictly held back until the community successfully meets half of its relocation targets. We know that this model works because it is already working right here in Kentucky. Currently, there are 4 active programs across 38 counties utilizing local recruitment strategies. So far, they have successfully moved 110 households, bringing 291 new Kentuckians into the state. These movers alone represent $11.5 million in new economic output and $1.5 million in state and local tax revenue. The return on investment projections show that a state investment pays for itself in less than 18 months. So we have the opportunity to make a low-risk, high-reward investment in Kentucky's population and workforce. And House Bill 576 is a scalable growth strategy that directly addresses our workforce gap.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion and a second on House Bill 576 as amended by Committee Substitute 1. We do have some questions. Representative Cole Carney.
Thank you. Nothing too tough. I just had, for the record, just could you explain what the difference is in the sub versus the original bill?
Yes, so the sub actually removed the appropriation and the emergency clause that was in there, and then we'll do the funding through the regular budget process.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Callaway.
Yes, thank you. I was going to ask about the appropriation as well. What is the total on the appropriation that will be asked for?
Yeah, so it's $2.5 million per year.
Any other member? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Yes.
Representative Duvall.
Yes.
Representative Elliott. Representative Gentry. Representative Griffey.
Yes.
Representative Grossel.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative King.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Lawrence.
Yes.
Representative Lehman.
Yes, and I'd like to record my attendance as well, please. Thank you.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative Payne.
Yes.
Representative Sharp.
Aye.
Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Chair Branscombe.
Aye. House Bill 576, as amended by House Committee Substitute 1, passes with favorable expression that same should pass. Members, we also have a committee title amendment to House Bill 576. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Title amendment passes. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, committee. Appreciate it.
Next up, we have House Bill 593. Representative Burry.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you all for allowing me to be here today.
Good morning. You state your name for the record.
Representative Josh Bray, House District 71.
And members, we do have a House Committee sub on that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? House Committee sub is adopted and before us. Representative, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you all. So House Bill 593 is a very important piece of legislation that deals with data centers and protecting ratepayers from the impacts that they could have. It is, so I've chaired the Artificial Intelligence Task Force for 2 years. Over the summer, we heard a lot about data centers and their various utility needs. And it's kind of, Kentucky's kind of in an odd position right now because we don't have enough generation to meet the demand on our needs. And so it concerns me a little bit because we all want to see our economy grow. We all want to see our jobs grow. Things like advanced manufacturing. We look at, Kentucky success stories like Toyota and everything they've done there. And when we see these RFPs coming in from out of state, there's a lot, particularly in manufacturing, there's a lot of energy demand on those. And so I started getting really concerned about this. And then we heard some testimony about just how much excess demand we have because of data centers coming in, and they're a great opportunity when done right. And so what this bill tries to do is make sure Kentucky handles data centers the right way so that we protect our ratepayers and we take advantage of kind of a unique opportunity and protect our future economic interest going forward. So what the bill does is it says we want data centers done right. We provide in the bill that they can come here in 3 ways. They can provide their own generation, which would be a big win for Kentucky, because some of the projects we're hearing about all across the state, these companies are wanting to come in and provide their own generation, and then any excess generation that they have, they would sell back to the utilities, which we kind of accomplished 2 things there, right? We're improving our local economies, improving our local tax bases, and we're improving our generation capacity without ratepayers taking on the risk. The second way that they would be able to come in is they could have a power purchase agreement. They could buy it on the open market, buy the electricity on the national open market. And that way, ratepayers, once again, aren't taking on that risk because this is a national market that's not affecting our capacities here. The third way, if we have to increase generation, if we have to increase transmission, then the data center should pay for all of those expenses up front. In my conversations with the big tech companies, the companies that we want Kentucky doing business with, they all agree. They want to pay their way. They're willing to write the checks. The gentleman from Mason has a project in his neck of the woods right now where that's already happening. And so the big tech companies aren't opposed to that, the people that we want to be doing business with. So within the bill, it's pretty clear. Section 1 deals with municipal utilities. These are our locally owned and operated municipal utilities like Owensboro Electric. Henderson has its own utility. So it tells the local utilities how to do that. In the committee sub, one of the changes was we gave municipals 6 months instead of 90 days to form a tariff. In the committee sub, there were just a couple technical changes that deal with some terms on prepayment to make sure that our local governments can be made whole when they have to do all of their due diligence. And then Section 3 deals with retail electric providers. So these are your LG&Es, KU. This is your co-ops that most of us are probably served by. And all of those provisions are the same. Section 2 and Section 4 both deal with municipal and PSC regulated water, wastewater, and gas systems. And the section there is pretty clear. It just says that ratepayers cannot subsidize data centers. All of this, any kind of infrastructure improvements have to be done up front. All of those have to be done without any risk to the data center, to the utility customers. We want to make sure that we protect ratepayers, that ratepayers aren't taking on risk. When we look at what's happened all through the Commonwealth, Eastern Kentucky is kind of the perfect example, right? We used to have a lot of industry there that's had to be forced out, and so now we've got all of this transmission, all of this infrastructure that's got to be paid for. And the only people left to pay for it are the residents. And so this bill aims to make sure that we don't have situations like that going forward, that the good operators, the good people that we want to deal with have opportunities to deal in Kentucky, and that we make sure that our residents and the ratepayers aren't taking on unnecessary risk or unnecessary cost to bring data centers in.
We have a motion and a second on House Bill 593 as amended by the House Committee Substitute 1. We do have a question. Representative Kulkarni.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a quick question. If you could explain again what the difference is in the sub is
Yep,
versus the original bill.
Be happy to. So in Section 1, we gave municipals 6 months instead of 90 days to form a tariff. The term resource was changed to load to be more consistent with KRS. There were some technical changes to the prepayment for studies and stuff like that to make sure they can capture all of those costs. There was an exemption for a DOE project that's taking place in Paducah. That's we don't really have the authority to regulate that project. It's fed by TVA, which we don't have the authority to regulate. So there's some TVA language in there as well. In Section 3, we make technical changes to the term dedicated resource to that provision so that it allows for flexibility within the operation of the system, so that if when a project comes online, they've got their resources allocated, but if something changes, it allows them the flexibility that they would need while still having a dedicated resource. We made the same changes to the prepayment provisions, the TVA exemption, DOE exemptions. There were some belt and suspenders language put in so that existing contracts couldn't be modified. I think it would be unconstitutional to do so, but we just wanted to give the assurance. And then in Section 6, there's an existing net metering provision. We wanted to make sure that this didn't complicate or obfuscate any existing agreements that are already on place, so that was added in. So the principles of the bill have remained unchanged. It's mostly just technical changes.
Okay, brief follow-up. Excuse me. Where does that initial $75,000 prepayment go, that fee?
So that $75,000 prepayment goes to the utility, and so they have to do a lot of due diligence, right? They have to make sure, one, they've got capacity, what the transmission requirements are going to be, where the generation is going to come from. So there's a lot of due diligence that has to be done. That $75,000 application helps make sure that all of that's paid for up front so that ratepayers aren't having to cover that. And then it also makes sure that some of these speculators that are coming out that may not have an end developer, you've at least got a minimum bar of entry so that we're kind of separating the wheat from the chaff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That may be the first time I've heard wheat and chaff used here in a committee meeting, but that's a good point. I just want to thank Representative Bray for tackling this issue. I think this has brought out the ugliness in some of our communities, and I know it's the unknown, but I appreciate you tackling this issue. Just a couple of quick questions, if I could. So, do I understand you right? If this bill passes, there's no way that any constituents' electric bills, utility bills would go up because of that?
That is my intention, yes, sir.
And I appreciate that very much. And then the second thing, is there any way that we're tying utility companies' hands in this? I've heard that being said. Is there any way that we're tying their hands in this issue with this bill?
I've heard that argument. I don't personally understand it. I don't see how. So a lot of the pushback I've received has been around the dedicated resource language. But in my mind, that's pretty simple, right? Like if we're going to bring on a 500 megawatt facility, we want to be able to point to where we can feed that facility, and we want to make sure that we've got the margins in place so that we can do economic development in the future, so that we don't have to worry about brownouts in the future, blackouts in the future, that kind of stuff. I don't really understand the argument. I've tried. I've had staff sit in with meetings with me. To me, it doesn't really make sense.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Callaway.
Yeah, I just have two quick questions. Would you talk a little bit about how this bill maintains the authority of local governments and local control, and then just the reasoning why we don't have any authority over TVA, if you could explain that.
Yep, be happy to. So I'm glad you brought up the local control issue because I skipped that. There's a section in the bill that deals with, so it's Section 5. It deals with the tax incentives that data centers can receive on sales tax for equipment. So in that it says, hey, unless all local provisions are made and it's certified that all local requirements have been met, so there's your local control component, then nothing shall qualify. And then as far as the TVA, so the TVA is federally regulated. That they're regulated by FERC, and we don't have the authority to regulate federal utilities.
Representative Lawrence.
Representative Bray, just want to make a quick statement, if I may, Chairman. I want to say thank you for bringing this legislation. A lot of the questions that I had, they've already asked those, and I'm glad they did. every time I've called you about this, you've been an open line of communication, and I know that my local utility, East Kentucky Power, has done the same, and you've done the same for them. So I appreciate you, and I want to say that this bill is a due diligence bill. I feel like we are always on the backside of fixing problems here in Frankfort, and this is a bill that gets ahead of the game. We're setting the parameters. We're making the guardrails as we should as a law, the people that set laws for the state. Also, the subsidizing is probably the biggest word that I have heard in my community. Is a lot of folks are scared of their utility bills, and I understand that. I have an electric bill that was like $600 because of all the cold weather that we had last month. So setting that in stone that they cannot raise the utility rates on my constituents, I so appreciate it, and I will gladly vote yes today. Thank you, Representative Bray.
Representative Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I just ask a quick question? And so, yeah, like I think it's a great bill, but I'm just curious if you talk to the Economic Development Cabinet or the Chamber, I mean, in terms of recruiting companies or recruiting new data centers, I mean, how's this perceived? Have you had that conversation?
I've had a lot of conversations, particularly with economic development. We are in complete agreement on this. They actually brought to our attention a data center that's coming, that's announced to come to Hancock County in the old Century Aluminum plant, and how this is the perfect opportunity. And so I've met with all of those folks. They're supportive of the issue. Now, I will say I have not directly discussed this with the Chamber of Commerce, but with CED, I've had multiple meetings, a lot of correspondence going back to the Artificial Intelligence Task Force over the interim.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, Sasha call the roll. Or I'm sorry, Sasha, Sammy call the roll. You Sasha being here.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Yes.
Representative Duvall.
Yes.
Representative Elliott.
May I explain my vote, Mr. Chairman? I'm going to vote aye. And in a state like Virginia, for instance, in the last 5 years, their electricity costs have gone up 267% because of data centers. So I agree with my colleagues. I appreciate what you're doing here. You're getting ahead of the problem. The president has worked very hard as well on shifting these costs to big tech, and I think that's who should be paying for them. So I vote aye today, and we need to keep our electricity bills under control in Kentucky.
Representative Gentry. Representative Griffey. Yes. Representative Grossel.
Yes.
Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative King.
Chair, may I explain my vote, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I vote yes, ma'am. And Representative Bray, I am so excited that you have put this into place, and hopefully we will have this codified ASAP. Hopefully this will settle down some of the misinformation and disinformation that is running rampant on social media. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get ahead of that, but I appreciate the opportunity to vote yes in committee on the floor, and I appreciate the opportunity to co-sponsor with you. Thank you. I'm a yes.
Representative Kulkarni.
Briefly explain, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank you for bringing this bill and being proactive about this issue. If we are going to incentivize and try to attract data centers, it is imperative that we regulate them so that they don't negatively impact any of our communities. So I thank you for making sure that our ratepayers are not going to be impacted. I want to also make sure we address environmental impacts of these data centers. So there's going to be a lot of areas where we need to regulate them, but I appreciate you taking this first step. So I'm a yes.
Representative Lawrence.
Absolutely.
Representative Lehman.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative Payne.
Yes.
Representative Sharp.
Aye.
Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Chair Branscombe.
Aye. House Bill 593, as amended by House Committee Substitute 1, passes with favorable expression. Its same should pass. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
There being no further business, we are adjourned.